Hey Cosmic Cuties, it is your friendo, the Lady Ms. Vagina Jenkins, and it is time for Queer Astrology and Hoodoo Heritage Month. So let's talk about the intersection of hoodoo and astrology, or at least what it looks like for me. So first and foremost, happy October. I can't believe we're almost at the end of the year here. And happy Hoodoo Heritage Month. In case you don't know, Hoodoo is one of the group of spiritualities called African Traditional Religions, ATRs. They are also known as Neo-African spiritualities or African-derived spiritualities. And these African traditional religions speak to the ways in which enslaved Africans found themselves in the New World and were forced to create new versions of spirituality that combined West African traditions of spirituality and culture alongside colonizer religions and spirituality, alongside native or indigenous versions of spirituality. And that looks all kinds of different ways depending on the places in which enslaved Africans found themselves. So we've got Santeria and Candomblé, as well as Haitian Voodoo, and here in North America we have Hoodoo, which combines, yes, those West Africanisms and cultural and spiritual signifiers alongside Christianity, alongside Native American plant medicine. Hoodoo is often also called conjure or root work, and so you might have heard those words to describe it. It is absolutely a closed practice reserved for those folks whose ancestors were survivors of chattel slavery here in North America. Hoodoo is absolutely the gift that those ancestors gave us and instilled in us, whether we recognize it or not. There are a lot of hoodoo practices that show up in everyday American Blackness that I wonder sometimes if people understand the ways in which they are connected to hoodoo. So that is just a little bit of background information about African traditional religions and hoodoo specifically, and I'll put a couple of other resources down in the caption below. So for this Hoodoo Heritage Month 2024, I want to talk about a bunch of hoodoo-centered things, but also the ways in which I combine them with my astrology practice. I want to talk about cleansing work. I want to talk about doing protection work. I want to talk about our connections to our ancestors and how we practice and deepen those connections. There's just going to be a lot of really cool information, and I cannot wait to share it with you. So let's get started. So in this video, I want to talk about cleansing work. First and foremost, why cleansing is important, and then what it looks like when we combine astrology with our cleansing work. I also have a couple of folks that I have invited to talk about cleansing practices from their perspectives. So let's get into it. So in terms of the importance of cleansing, I think that it's really important to remember to cleanse our tools, our space, our bodies, our minds, our hearts on a regular basis, because it creates this blank slate, this clean slate for us to do work from. It's really important for that work to not be tainted or muddied by other energies that might be lingering. I also want to remind us that cleansing work, as with so many other ways that you can do workings and conjure and root work in hoodoo, is not dependent on what you have to buy. I see a lot of new age spirituality that is linked up in the capitalist sort of white supremacy cultural leanings, and so much of it seems to be hinged on what you can consume or buy. And it's one of the hallmarks of hoodoo to me that I find most valuable, in that Hoodoo was created by enslaved people that worked with what they had at their disposal. And so honoring that as a cultural practice feels really important to me because it honors the work of my ancestors and it is antithetical to the capitalism that is the vibe in the space right now. Anyways, with all of that in mind, I have brought to you my favorite cleansing tool. Dun, da, da, da. Water. I got it from my tap and it cost me $3.99. Water is one of my favorite cleansing tools because I am a water sign. I'm a Pisces sun. And so this is the place where I want to talk about the intersection of hoodoo and astrology. What if your cleansing work was informed by working with the elements? And what if you were able to work with the element that is dominant in your chart or that is in relation to the issue that you're working on? And what I mean by that is you have a number of planetary placements. You've got your moon sign, your rising sign, your sun sign. Well, if you look at all of those planetary placements in your chart, what's the dominant element? Are you mostly fire signs, mostly air signs, mostly earth signs, mostly water signs? And what would it look like if you engaged in cleansing practices according to that dominant energy? Or what if you engaged in cleansing practices around the particular issue that you're working on and that house in your chart? For example, what if you were doing cleansing as it relates to your home or your family situation? And so what if we looked at the ruler of your fourth house and saw what element that particular house was in? To that end, I want to talk about cleansing with each of the four elements and give you some examples to get your mind rolling. So absolutely water, drinking herbs that are infused in water. We call that tea. That could be a way to cleanse your body. You could also cleanse your tools or your space, literally with soapy water, wiping things down, or with salted water. Salt is a really good earth kind of mineral to work with. And it's interesting when I think about all of these examples that I'm going to give, how many of them are intersectional. So yes, cleansing with some slightly salted water, your tools, your body, that could be one thing that you did, and it would combine a little bit of water energy with a little bit of earth energy. Speaking of earth energy and cleansing practices, grounding, like literally going outside and touching grass, as the young people say, that could be a strategy for cleansing one's earth energy. Drinking tea because of the herbal element and how that's connected to earth. Also using herbs in a smudge or fumigation kind of context, which would combine earth and fire. Again, intersectionality. We love to see it. Oh, also reminder here that white sage is a closed practice to Indigenous Americans, and that there are so many different types of sage and we don't have to appropriate that particular one. As a matter of fact, right now in your kitchen, I'll bet you have some sage. Why not use that and leave them people what is theirs? Stop consuming everything. Just because you can buy it doesn't mean it's yours. Divest from the colonizer energy within. Another way of cleansing with earth energy might be to bury something. Perhaps you have some tools that you don't necessarily need right now, but maybe you will bury them in your backyard for a moon cycle so that the earth can absorb any sort of energy. Cleansing is so much about energetic flow. We're not keeping things stagnant and still, but instead allowing the energy to flow. So what better way to allow a tool to release and flow with some energy than to let that energy flow into the earth? You could also work with the fire element. You can use fire in terms of smoking herbs. Again, that intersection of herbs, of earth and fire energy. You could smoke herbs or smudge with herbs or do a fumigation with herbs. All of those combine that fire and earth energy, I guess, to even make air energy because of the smoke involved. You could burn things in a bonfire, or a miniature version of that would be burning things like in a metal container or cauldron in your home. You can also run things through a flame to cleanse them. And finally, cleansing with air could look like speaking something aloud, allowing a thought or an idea to be released from your body into the air, into the ether. You could also write something down and burn it. Again, this intersection of air and fire energy, and let the smoke carry that message into the ether. You could do breathing exercises as a way to work with air energy and imagine sort of the air cleansing you from within, breathing in one type of energy and expelling another type of energy. Again, creating the sense of flow. So yeah, which of the four elements is dominant in your chart, or what particular area of life are you trying to work on? And what sign rules that area of life in your particular chart? Comment below if you need any help with this. I'm definitely down to ideate with you. That's everything that I want to share in this moment about the importance of cleansing and what it would look like to combine astrology in your cleansing practice. Now I want to turn it over to my friend, Dr. Rachelle Dixon. Dr. Rachelle Dixon, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Rachelle Dixon. I am an acupuncturist, an herbalist, Reiki master teacher, and priestess. All of that to say, spiritual cleansing is something that's important to me, not just personally, but also professionally. Now, I just love the month of October in general. The change of the seasons, the crunching leaves, the extra fog, the creepy movies, delicious warm or aromatic spices everywhere. But even more than that, this period of time from September 29th to some traditions will tell you November 2nd, others will tell you November 15th. This is the time when the veil between the worlds of the living and the dead is the thinnest, uncovering a marvelous opportunity to connect with our ancestors in a good way. My mother's side of the family hails from Latvia, where this time period is actually called Ancestor season, or the season of shades, the season of souls. My father's side of the family is African American, and this is that wonderful time of Hoodoo Heritage Month. Many cultures around the globe have traditions and lore about this time of year, and I feel blessed to be able to tend to both sides of my family's ancestors every year. It was actually my grandmother who introduced me to the concept of spiritual cleansing first, this art and science of clearing dense energy and encouraging uplifting energies return by working with the elements of air, water, earth, and fire. Like walking outside for a wind bath, asking the spirits of a local water source like a lake, a river, an ocean to help you cleanse, using some salt, lighting a candle, or jumping over a fire. These are all ways to experience and work with these elemental allies and their ability to cleanse our body, mind, spirits, and hearts. Some slightly more fancy ways are by asking the teachers and allies found in herbs, trees, and rocks. Notice I said asking, never using, because those herbs have a spirit too, and in some traditions are known as being our ancestors. So real talk, ask the plant before working with it. The first way, of course, is fumigation or smoke cleansing, lighting some herbs so that they smolder and waving that smoke through your auric field. Some great herbs for this are like juniper, pine, cedar, and things that are not conifers too, like mugwort or rosemary. Another way is creating a spiritual bath to wash away things by soaking in or pouring an herbal mixture, like in a bowl, over the body. You steep it kind of like a tea, remove the plant matter, and then just use the water. Even just adding, though, a pinch of salt to some water is a beautiful way to make a spiritual bath. Bonus points for adding things like bay leaf or cinnamon or lavender, or rosemary, rose water, or you can use a splash or a spritz of Florida water, which is a magnificent blend of clear liquor, herbs, and flowers. It's kind of like this beautiful kitchen sink herbal formula that helps to both clear dense energies as well as bring to the fore the upright energies within ourselves. With Ancestor season being upon us, having a way to cleanse from some of the more dense energies that we've been surrounded by so we can be more ourselves is a beautiful way to welcome the change of the season and uplift your heart, your mind, your spirit, your body. So when we lift up our own energies and heal, we lift up and heal the energies of all those who came before us and after us. If you're interested in topics like Ancestor season or spiritual cleansing, please pop over to my website, amazongrove.com, or take a look for Amazon Grove on Insta and Facebook for some of my upcoming classes on these topics, or by booking a personal ritual consultation with me where we can talk about the ritual you would like to plan. Happy cleansing.
Aren't they amazing? I absolutely love Dr. Dixon. If you ever want to work with them in terms of herbal work, in terms of herbal medicine, acupuncture, they do in-person consultations in the DMV area and virtual consultations, and I absolutely highly recommend them. 10 out of 10. And now I want to turn it over to my friend Savannah to talk about somatic practices in cleansing, specifically thinking about cleansing one's body of stored energy like trauma. Savannah, will you tell us about shaking?
Hello, my name is Savannah, and I am Chief Twerk Whisperer at PTA Healing Studios, where I invite folks to come and throw that ass in a healing circle. I'm a Reiki practitioner and twerk instructor, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the somatics of shaking and why I use twerk specifically as a healing modality to help folks release. So, the long of the short of it is that shaking helps us reset our nervous systems. And resetting the nervous system basically means activating our parasympathetic system so our brain realizes that we are safe and it can relax. So think about soothing a baby or a small child. What do? We bounce them, we rock them, we shake them. Those are signals to let them know that they are safe and that they can relax, they can stop crying, they can go to sleep, their needs will be met, So that is why we shake. The other reason why we shake is because our brain and our body hold on to information. So when humans perceive a threat, real or imagined, we go into flight or fight response. Or we may fawn or we may freeze. Our brain literally will go through each option as it's available until we're able to get out of the situation. We will store that information. We'll have the memory and we'll have sense memory in our bodies from like tensing up, pupils dilating, breathing heavy, heart racing. We'll remember all of that for future information. But that tenseness, that feeling actually lives in our body longer than the memory does. And that feeling will return to our body every time we are in a similar situation. So how can we stop that? In animals, when they perceive a threat and then they react, if the threat passes with nothing happening, you scared your cat. You thought they were going to have to get into a fight. They didn't. They relaxed. They shake. They shake it off from tip to tail, right? They shake, they stretch, and that is them bringing their bodies back into a baseline so that they are relaxed and they can move through the rest of their day with little to no lingering side effects. Humans don't do that. Whether we almost get hit by our car, we're in a fight with somebody, you walk past a group of folks that you are uncomfortable around. We register all of that in our bodies, and we never, well, not never, but lots of times we just move on to the next thing. We don't realize that all of that energy is still sitting in our body. So with twerk, we're addressing the places that trauma tends to sit the most. So that's hips, thighs, gut, lower back, pelvic floor. So when we're twerking, we are activating these areas of our body, rocking, shaking, shimmying. So you are soothing yourself while having a good ass time. People demonize twerking, but what it really does is invite you to come back into your body and to release anything that is lingering. So if you would love to know more about using twerk as a liberation practice, using sensual movement as a spiritual practice, or you just want to learn how to throw some ass, please check me out. You can follow me on Instagram, TTA_healing_studio. You can also sign up for my newsletter and my Patreon. Thank you so much. I hope this was super helpful, and I hope that you will shake some ass and release some trauma.
If you are interested in twerking and shaking as a healing practice, please check out their classes in the New York area. Or if you are interested in some of their Reiki and Somatics focused work, please consult with them virtually. I absolutely recommend working with them. They are such a calming, healing presence. And they're a lot of fun too. All right, well, that is it. That is the video. I hope it resonated with you. And if it did resonate with you, please consider supporting this channel. One way that you can support this channel is to become a member of the channel. Membership starts at $3.99 a month. And you get really cool perks like custom emojis and loyalty badges. You get to see videos before they're released to the public. And it's just a really amazing way to support your local Black, queer, autistic creator. That's me. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for making time for queer astrology. Happy Hoodoo Heritage Month! Bye!